Arrowhead Stadium. It's the Los Angeles Raiders versus the Kansas City Chiefs.
All right, how's it going, everybody? This is sitting around watching football, and this is a game from 1986, Week 5. The Chiefs are 3-1. The Raiders are 1-3 in this game. These are division rivals. The Chiefs are trying to keep up with the Broncos right now, who are 4-0, and the Seahawks, who are 3-1. The Seahawks are the Chiefs' only loss this season so far, and they're playing the Chargers, who are the Raiders' only win this year. So right now the Chiefs are trying to keep up in the divisional race. Right here, Ray Guy has botched a snap and given the Chiefs amazing field position.
King, a fullback from Purdue, is in there. 220-pound back along with Pruitt. All down to the tight end, letting lead the blocking. Penalty markers down.
They get called for a false start. They get backed up. Go to the end zone. Miss. Again. 3rd and goal.
3rd down and goal from the 7 for Kansas City.
Incomplete. So Chiefs have to settle for a field goal. And look at this guy. That's a football player right there. That's a kicker. 1 bar. Looks like he got his jersey from the team store that day. It's not custom fit or nothing. Did you notice the spelling error on the 25-yard attempt?
No score yet.
So right here, the Chiefs take a 3-0 lead. Lowry's juiced.
And so Kansas City gets a big break early. Can't get it in, but they do get 3. And the Chiefs will kick it off with a 3-0 lead when we come back. This is down quick.
So the Chiefs keep driving, just dominating this game like they were supposed to. I could only imagine what the Vegas odds were for this game. Also note that Marcus Allen is injured and not playing in this game. Chiefs score a touchdown, take a 9-0 lead, make the extra point, 10-0. Chiefs fans are loving it.
Boyce Green making his first start of the season here for the Kansas City Chiefs, formerly of the Cleveland Browns.
So yeah, no Marcus Allen in this game for the Raiders. They wouldn't draft Bo Jackson until the 87. So, second quarter here, Chiefs up 10-0. Now this call just looked like good defense, but refs give the Chiefs the ball down, 1st and goal, probably at the 3. Look at this replay. This is just good defense here. Ball's underthrown. That's the only reason why there's contact. That corner was all over that receiver, and he was never catching that. You'd have had to throw a perfect ball to score a touchdown there. A terrible call by the referees. The first one of many this day. So the Chiefs get the ball down there. I appreciate that camera angle, especially on the play action fake, and shout out to the cameraman for not getting fooled. Chiefs are now up 17-0. So you can see here Dan Campbell going for it on 4th and 1, down 17. Again, that 34 is not Bo Jackson. Name's Napoleon something. So refs call this a touchdown. But did you see his feet? They're going to show a replay here.
Come alive now and trail in the game 17-6.
They refer to this as a fade pattern. The receiver initiates the contact and then bounces off the defensive back, and that is a perfectly thrown ball. 1, Whoa, I don't. Its second foot wasn't down in bounds.
Very clearly out of bounds. So this is the first season the NFL had ever had a challenge rule. Or not a challenge rule, but an instant replay review.
Gets you going, doesn't it?
Yeah, what the replay official will look at.
So right now they have a guy
In his determination, his touchdown is going to
on a monitor looking at that replay, looking at these camera angles, and seeing if the pass was incomplete or complete.
I think the touchdown will
Very
stand.
clearly he did not get both feet in.
Very, very close call.
Dokie Williams, zero-toe drag swag.
And there's a guy
You can
sitting
see
down here
the
with,
referees communicating
sunglasses and a black
with the guy in the
leather
booth.
jacket that if they take that touchdown away, he's going to be on the field, not him.
The guy in the booth will tell him
I'm talking about Al Davis. He will be
the
on
call.
the field. Let's watch once again. Without the
After
contact,
review by the instant replay, the play stands as a touchdown.
So you're watching this at home on television, and you see this bad call. And one of the things that you're thinking is, how could they make such a bad call? You can count the feet, 1 foot inbounds, second foot out of bounds. There's no reason why this play should have been called a complete pass. Well, there actually could be a way that it could have been called a complete pass, as prior to 2008, I believe, the NFL had a rule where if you were forced out of bounds and you caught the ball, but your feet didn't land in bounds, you were given credit for the catch, regardless of how stupid that rule is. Most famously, this happened in a 2003 game where the Cardinals beat the Minnesota Vikings in Week 17, and it cost Vikings a spot in playoffs.
Get back, guys.
Here it is. The season's on the line. Two receivers left and right. McCown takes the snap. He steps up. He's all by himself. Fires into the end zone. Caught! Touchdown! No! No! The Cardinals have knocked the Vikings out of the playoffs. I believe it was caught by Nate Poole. He's being mugged by his Cardinal teammates. They're Minnesota Vikings crying on the field.
what the replay official is saying is that the contact by Lewis pushed Dokie Williams out of bounds, so the touchdown stands. Watch this great adjustment that Dokie Williams makes on this catch. Excellent concentration. That ball is right over the top of his shoulder. He makes it look.
So what's actually happening right now is there is zero quality control being done by the NFL. So the NBC booth has a runner, because there's no way to communicate with anybody. They have a runner that is just running around the press box trying to figure out what the hell is going on. I mean, the replay was called via walkie-talkie, so they didn't have a lot of means of communication in 1986. Apparently, telephones didn't exist. But this guy is running through the press box, and he runs into the replay booth, and he asks him, "What the hell kind of call was that? That was very clearly incomplete. But you guys called it a complete pass." And the explanation that he runs back to the booth would have been something that would have caused a riot in modern NFL times.
Easy, his second touchdown catch of the season.
Our producer, Kenneth Roy Edmondson, has just been told that that was an incomplete pass, that the Raiders were credited with a touchdown, but it came too late. The ruling and the play stands. A breakdown in communication. The Raiders should not have had the touchdown, according to what our producer has been told.
Blatant false start by the running back there.
Chiefs perhaps going to take their 10-point winnings to the locker room if they can't. They've got to move the ball out. There's still a substantial amount of time with 4 minutes to go.
Don, how can there be a breakdown in communication when I saw the umpire listening to the man up in the booth? So what they're saying was that the contact by Albert Lewis on Dokie Williams was not enough to force him out of the end zone.
I don't understand how they can't get down to the field. I mean, there's people watching this game in New Delhi off a satellite.
For the life of me, I don't. I mean, just throw a flag down on the field, or a football, or an ice cube or something.
Well, I think Bill Granholm at the NFL office had the best suggestions. Why don't we have a phone on each side of the field? You just call down, the guy walks over and picks it up and you talk to him.
Good idea.
So what actually happened is that the guy in the booth says incomplete, and the guy holding the walkie-talkie hears it's complete. And I just, for the life of me, it just seems like the most unacceptable thing to allow that to get by and not change anything. I personally feel the Raiders were 1st and 10 from the 12-yard line. They would have had 2nd and 10 from the 12-yard line. The chances of them not getting points out of the drive were very minimal. But could you imagine the Twitter reaction if that were to happen nowadays? It would be unbelievable. So right here you have a makeup call to end all makeup calls. This should have made everything right and probably given the Chiefs points. This call here is just perplexing and would never have happened in the modern NFL.
Smith. Good block. Yep, Smith taking on tacklers. Robinson got him, and it's going to be close to a first down. Now a fight starts.
Just want to point out that Howie Long is not involved right now.
Well, after Blackledge, we've got Chiefs and Raiders going full tilt, just like they like it over the years.
Rip off somebody's helmet, get held back by the referee. Just a crazy moment right there.
Big fight going on at the 23. Big fight. Major slugging. Couple of Raiders, Van McElroy and Piquel started up with Todd Blackledge. I think the game plan for $500,000 a year quarterbacks is to sprint to the bench when fights start.
Certainly keep your helmet on.
Take a look at this Chiefs offensive lineman strangling a Raiders defensive lineman.
You see the pushing and shoving and grabbing and pulling. They are not talking about dinner dates tonight, folks.
Note that the referee is standing right there as the quarterback gets punched in the face.
Now McElroy takes a shot at Blackledge, and Blackledge is heading for the bench. Very smart. There's a rule in the NFL that says you'll be ejected immediately if you take a player's helmet off and then hit him with it. That rule was named in favor of
Personal foul, number 75, Los Angeles.
All right, so this referee calls a personal foul on number 75, who's Howie Long. And that's it. He's the only person who gets penalized the entire time. Not the guy who started the fight. Not the guy who started the fight was fighting against. Howie Long, who wasn't even involved in the skirmish originally. He may have jumped on the pile, but it just feels like they said, we're calling this on the Raiders, and that's it. Just give it to Howie Long because he's the dirtiest player on the team. I mean, you had a guy mounted and being choked. You had a quarterback that got punched in the face. You had a guy whose helmet was ripped off, and a referee had to hold him back from smashing his head in with his own helmet. Not a single one of these people got called for personal foul. In the modern NFL, there are fouls by both teams. Personal foul on the Chiefs, personal foul on the Raiders. Penalties offset because the play still stands because it was after the play. It's 4th down. Here is how dramatically this could have changed the game. There was 55 seconds left when this guy got tackled. It was 3rd and 11 from the Chiefs' 37. They got 8 yards. It was 4th and 3 from the Chiefs' 45. That personal foul with 55 seconds left gives the Chiefs an automatic first down, 1st and 10 at the Raiders' 40. So in that NFL, you're probably looking about 15 yards for field goal range, but there's a lot of time. 55 seconds to get 40 yards. There's a lot of time to score a touchdown. See what happens next.
Personal foul call goes against the Raiders, so the ball with just 49 seconds. The wide receivers you see set to the top of your screen to the right. Blackledge stands in against a big rush, lobbing passes.
And just like that, any help that the Chiefs have gotten is just completely nullified by that terrible throw. Ball don't lie.
Intercepted. Down with the ball is Stephon Adams as he runs it back now across the 20. He's out of bounds at the 26-yard line. So the Chiefs' threat is stopped. Howie Long and Blackledge exchange words after the interception. That's the first interception thrown by Blackledge in about his last 70 passes.
Long with pressure all over Blackledge. Blackledge was just trying to throw that ball away, Don. But he couldn't follow through. He couldn't get anything on it. And Davis standing there.
So it's not all Blackledge's fault. I mean, the Raiders did blitz. They blitzed one outside linebacker. But the Chiefs had 2 running backs blocking and 5 offensive linemen. So they had 7 on 5, and they somehow allowed 2 guys to get to the quarterback. Now, where the quarterback threw the ball, a little sus, but hey, you know, that's what happens when you have 2 defensive linemen right in your face. So they go to halftime, and reminder, the score is still 17-7. Despite that terrible interception, despite the Raiders' call in the end zone, the score is still a 10-point lead for the Chiefs going into the locker room at halftime. So the Raiders come out in the second half, and they're firing on all cylinders. Get down in the Chiefs zone, and then they punch it in for the touchdown. The extra point is good, and the score is now 17-14. Chiefs still leading.
10:18 to play in the third quarter, and the Raiders have scored 14 unanswered points to come back. Yeah, they come into this game with a 1-3 record. The 3 teams they've lost to, as you mentioned earlier, have a combined record of 11-1 through the first 3 weeks of the season.
All right, big moment in the game here, as you can see that running back completely whiffed blocking that blitzing outside linebacker and just allowed his quarterback to get hurt. Mark Wilson's holding his wrist.
Back here, thank you, Bob, at Kansas City, Mark Wilson is down with an injured right hand.
Quite frankly, I watched this whole game, and Mark Wilson looked like shit the entire time. But the Raiders do have a decent backup plan. It's 2-time Super Bowl champion Jim Plunkett, who just recently in 1983 won the Super Bowl. The Raiders were the first wild card team to ever win the Super Bowl.
Coming from the left. When Wilson follows through, his arm gets right on the back of the shoulder pads of Tim Cofield. Looks like he jams his thumb, which is already taped. So Jim Plunkett, the ageless wonder, back in the ballgame.
One thing I want to point out is that out of all of the quarterbacks who had won 2 Super Bowls in their career, you're looking at Bart Starr, Bob Greasy, Terry Bradshaw, Roger Staubach, and Joe Montana at this point in time. So there's 5 other quarterbacks. Jim Plunkett is the only one of these quarterbacks that ever got benched and lost his starting job. So Bart Starr won the Super Bowl in 66-67, retired in 1971. Bob Greasy won the Super Bowl 72-73, retired in 1980. Terry Bradshaw won the Super Bowl 74, 75, 78, 79. He retired in 83. Staubach won it in 71, 76, 77, retired in 1979. Montana won it in 81 and 84. And he was going to be the starting quarterback for a while at this point. But for the Raiders to turn their back on a quarterback that brought them 2 Super Bowls just seems a little odd feels like the Raiders could have been the team of the 80s there for a little while. I mean, they had 2 Super Bowls at this point in time. 49ers had 2 Super Bowls. They gave up on their quarterback, though, and they decided to go with Mark Wilson. So, I mean, it didn't really work out for them because it's currently 2024 and the Raiders haven't won a Super Bowl since they gave up on Plunkett. So put it how crazy, if you go past 86 and look at all of the quarterbacks that have ever won the Super Bowl, there's only a handful that weren't the full-time starter until their retirement or until they got very old and had a twilight season later in their career, the way Aaron Rodgers did with the Jets this past year. And he's still in the league, I understand, but we're coming to the end of the Aaron Rodgers era. So there's Jim McMahon. After winning the Super Bowl in 85, he had an injury-riddled season, or a couple injury-riddled seasons. The Bears were still 18-3 with him as the starting quarterback. 3 years after they win the Super Bowl, he left for San Diego. Doug Williams was a backup. I'm not even going to consider him because he was a backup quarterback. Where Jay Schrader got hurt, Williams came in, won the Super Bowl. Same thing with Nick Foles. Carson Wentz was the quarterback. Nick Foles came in, won the Super Bowl. Can't really compare it to Jim Plunkett, who won the Super Bowl with the Raiders in 1980 and then won it with them in 1983. It's a different situation. Just a couple of quarterbacks that were comparable, I guess, would be Kurt Warner, who won a Super Bowl in 1999. The Rams never were the same Rams after 99. He lost his starting job week 1 in 2003 where he fumbled the ball 6 times on opening day against the Giants. And he threw an interception. Then there's Trent Dilfer, who after winning the Super Bowl with the 2000 Ravens was not on the 2001 Ravens, though he wasn't the full-time starter of the 2000 Ravens to begin with. There's Brad Johnson, who after winning the Super Bowl in 2002 started for a full year in 2003. They went 9-7. Then in 2004 they started 0-4, and Gruden made the switch to Chris Sims, never went back.
To be 39 years old, the quarterback of 2 Raiders Super Bowl winners. Jim Plunkett gets some time, lets her go, going for it is Todd Christensen.
All right, and we got our second round of controversy here.
Great catch. An all-pro play by
Now this one's a lot closer than the other one, and I don't even really know how I feel about this play itself.
You'll see they've got Albert Lewis on him man-to-man, no hold up at the line of scrimmage.
Second
Plunkett just puts it there perfectly. We can't really see his feet.
So you kind of see from that angle that his knee was the first thing that came down. I mean, you can't really see shit anyways, but then when you look, that knee comes down. It looks like it comes down right out of bounds. That's a crop that I got, but realistically, you can't see shit. I don't know how they saw anything on the old TVs in the old days. I know that this isn't the 100% crystal clear quality that they would have had in 1986, but at the same time, this is another call that the replay booth, anytime you have replay controversy and you have to go to replay again, replay is going to be talked about a lot.
Now the Raiders did get a touchdown.
But, you know, the walkie-talkie guy, they're going to actually figure this one out this time. Probably not miss here.
They just couldn't. One man said incomplete, the other construed it to say incomplete.
Well, let's get an interpreter from the United Nations. Maybe that'll handle that.
Bob Frederick, the referee, in council now with Jack Reeder of the NFL office.
Now, while we're watching this, the NFL replay official has his own replay machines over there to watch everything that we have run. This is a tough call.
The more I look at it, the more it looks like his knee comes down inbounds and then slides out, but who knows?
Inconclusive.
HD cameras, you would have been able to know for sure if he was in or out.
The guy upstairs says it's inconclusive.
After a review by the instant replay, the play stands for a completed pass
First down. Inconclusive now. We got indisputable. We got inconclusive. We got unreachable.
It's absolutely wild how the commentary team doesn't have a clue how any of the terminology or the instant replay works whatsoever. But Raiders take this ball. First play there. Second play.
There's a throw into the end zone. It's touchdown Raiders. Jesse Hester has the ball.
I don't believe it.
Jim Plunkett.
What a call by the commentator. His voice cracking, yelling about the touchdown. That's awesome. That is an awesome call.
17 lead with the extra point coming up.
I don't believe it.
Believe it.
How does this Raider team wiggle out of these spots? Pass protection first. I think Plunkett knows from the outset where he's going. Hester catches it once, catches it twice. It's in there. Cofield underneath. Kevin Ross on top. I don't believe it. These guys are amazing, Don Criqui.
Answered points. 7 of them on a mistake.
Can't see if he's got anything extra on his hand or wrist. Looks all right.
So you can just kind of see how Wilson was doing and now compare it to how Plunkett is doing at this point in the game. Much better day for Plunkett than for Wilson. All right, the Raiders are running out of the clock. Listen to this.
Last time was 1979.
Did you see Jim Plunkett there? He just stood next to the official, watched the 30-second clock until it ticked down to 1 and took a timeout. Now, see, that's things that a veteran quarterback will do for you. Realizing there's only 3 minutes left, knew he was going to take a timeout. Some young kids turn around and say, give me a timeout, I'm going to the sideline. Plunkett uses 25 seconds first.
All right, I've got to know if any of you have ever seen a football game where a team is running out the clock and the quarterback runs the ball, just gets up, looks at the referee and says, give me a timeout. Send me the link because I want to see that. That's absolutely ridiculous. This is the NFL. I know it's 1986, but this is the NFL. It's not the 1930s. It's not the era before passing. It's pretty modern for all things considered. I mean, there's instant replay in this game. This isn't middle school football. This isn't flag football. I have never seen an NFL quarterback just look at the referee and be like, give me a timeout, even though we're running out the clock and there's 29 seconds left on the play clock. The hell is that? All right, a little bit more controversy here. See if you can spot it before the replay. Incomplete pass, it's 4th down, but look at Todd Christensen's pissed. And here's why.
Field goal, though, for Chris Bard. If he makes it, it'll be a 7-point lead for the Raiders. It could conceivably go to overtime if the Chiefs can mount a drive with 2:57 to play. Let's watch that last one again.
Here's Christensen. Looks like he's delaying to try to get out. Can't really pick up the number.
It really looked like the play was designed for him.
Tackled to the ground. Lewis
And he just got tackled.
put a 2-point fall on him.
Referees didn't care one bit.
Complaining? Should. That would have been a big call. That would have given the Raiders a first down. So Kansas City's still in the game.
So the Raiders settle for a field goal. Again, love the kickers. Look at this
They
kicker.
won't be in the game unless they can mount some offense. They've been unable to move the ball for 2.5 quarters. After that big start.
It's good, and that makes it a 7-point game.
Veteran Bill Kenny has come in here in the 4th quarter.
3 minutes left in the 4th quarter.
On a 3rd long play the last time they had.
So here's what the Chiefs do with the ball.
For Kansas City. Chiefs trail by 7. They have to hit this play. They need 5. They get it. Oh, they lose the ball.
It's incomplete. Turnover on downs, and the Raiders are going to win the game.
Stacy Turan comes from behind and
Make the completion. He runs it right
Here's
between
another
Barnes,
replay.
56, middle of the screen, and Stacy Turan. If he steps back, although that's asking a lot, that's just great defense by the Raiders.
Commentator wanted him to come back to the ball, but, you know, I mean, if he comes back to the ball, he's probably tackled short of the sticks, and the Raiders win anyways.
He was the backup to Len Dawson when they won their Super Bowl.
There's Marcus Allen, injured.
Still a little hitch in the get along of Marcus Allen, and all the Raiders run off the field.
And that was a fun video. I mean, if you made it this far, you can watch this whole game on YouTube if you want. But I covered everything that was fun. Have a good day. Oh, look at that.
That's who it is.
Absolutely.
Jim Plunkett, the king of beers.
Sponsored by Budweiser. Jim Plunkett is the MVP. Budweiser will make a contribution to the United Way on behalf of all the MVP.
So I did some research after the game. The replay official has two 9-inch televisions with two VCRs. Now, I went to Google, try to find a 9-inch TV from 1986. Look at this thing. This is what they're trying to call replays on. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. But that was the technology at the time. You can see here is the explanation of the controversy from the first instant replay of the game. And then you can see here that all of the weird terminology that is used by the NFL during instant replays was caused by that one play. Replay only lasted another 5 years before it died. You can see here, after starting 0-3, the Raiders finished 8-8, and the Chiefs finished 10-6 and lost in the first round of the playoffs. Broncos would end up going on to lose the Super Bowl. Here's another bit of controversy, though, is that if the Chiefs had won this game, they would have had the division tiebreaker at 11-5 against the Broncos. They split the head-to-head, but the Chiefs would have had the better divisional record. And so the Chiefs would have had a home playoff game instead of having to go to New York to play at the Jets. They would have been able to play a game in Kansas City. And who knows? The Chiefs could have made a run. In 86, they could have made a run. Because, one, they would have had a home playoff game against the Patriots. It's possible that the Broncos could have visited Kansas City later in the playoffs. And if they had visited Kansas City, they had already lost once in Kansas City as a part of the split. So you never know. Super Bowl in 1986 could have been Giants versus Chiefs.